A nuclear bomb is one of those things that everyone knows is terrifying, but most people have never actually stopped to think about what would happen if one went off near them. We all know the images, the giant mushroom cloud, the destroyed buildings, the stories from Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But let's say the worst happens. Let's say you're standing in a city on a completely normal day when a nuclear weapon detonates nearby. What actually kills you first? Is it the radiation? Is it the explosion? Is it the heat? Or is it something else entirely? Well, the answer depends on where you're standing, and that's what makes nuclear weapons so horrifying. Because unlike most disasters, there isn't just one thing trying to kill you. There are several, and they arrive one after another. Let's imagine you're walking down a busy street. People are going about their day. Cars are moving through intersections. Someone is drinking coffee. Someone is checking their phone. Someone is probably complaining about work. Then suddenly the sky flashes. Not just bright. We're talking about a light so intense that your brain doesn't even know how to process it. For a fraction of a second, it looks like somebody has switched on a second sun directly above the city. If you're looking in that direction, your eyes may be permanently damaged before you even understand what's happening. People miles away could be temporarily blinded. Others would never see again. The strange thing is that at this exact moment, the explosion hasn't actually reached you yet. The light travels faster than everything else. So for a few terrifying seconds, millions of people would be staring at something they don't understand. Now, let's say you're very close to the detonation, maybe a mile away, maybe less. If that's the case, the answer to our question is brutally simple. The heat kills you first. Most people imagine fire as something that spreads from object to object, but this isn't normal fire. The center of a nuclear explosion becomes hotter than the surface of the sun. Skin can suffer catastrophic burns from incredible distances. Clothing can ignite, cars can catch fire, trees can burst into flames. In Hiroshima, some victims were so close to the blast that their bodies disappeared almost instantly. In certain locations, all that remained were dark shadows burned onto walls and staircases. Imagine walking to work one second and then simply ceasing to exist the next. No warning, no chance to run, no time to understand what happened. But most people wouldn't be standing that close. Most people would survive those first few seconds. And that's where the next killer comes in. Because after the flash and after the heat comes the blast wave. Picture the most powerful hurricane you've ever seen. Now imagine something much worse moving faster than a jet aircraft. The pressure wave races outward from the explosion, smashing into everything in its path. Buildings don't just shake, they collapse. Windows don't just crack. They explode inward, turning millions of tiny pieces of glass into deadly projectiles. People who survived the heat suddenly find themselves buried beneath concrete, steel, and brick. A person standing near a window might have enough time to think, what was that flash? Before the blast wave throws them across a room. Entire city blocks can be flattened in seconds. And the really scary part is that many victims wouldn't even know a nuclear bomb had detonated. They would see the light, become confused, and then the shockwave would arrive before they had a chance to react. Now let's say you're one of the lucky ones. Somehow you've survived the heat. You've survived the blast. Maybe you're injured. Maybe you're covered in dust and broken glass, but you're alive. At this point, most people think the danger is over. It isn't even close. Because now, the city itself begins trying to kill you. Fires start everywhere, hundreds of them, then thousands. Buildings are burning, vehicles are burning, power lines are down, gas lines are ruptured. Entire neighborhoods are turning into giant infernos. Historically, many people who survived nuclear explosions later died in the fires that followed. Some became trapped beneath collapsed buildings. Others were overcome by smoke. In certain situations, separate fires can merge together into what is known as a firestorm, a gigantic wall of fire capable of creating its own winds. Imagine surviving the most powerful weapon ever created, only to find yourself trapped in a city-sized furnace with nowhere to go. And then we finally arrive at the thing everyone talks about, radiation. If movies have taught people anything, it's usually that radiation is the immediate killer. Green glow, instant death, people collapsing on the spot. The reality is actually much more disturbing. Radiation often works slowly. A person may survive the blast and appear relatively normal at first. Maybe they're injured, maybe they're exhausted, but they can still walk and talk. Then hours pass, nausea begins, vomiting follows. Days later, their condition becomes worse. Their immune system starts failing. Their body struggles to replace damaged cells. Hair falls out. Internal bleeding can begin. Organs start shutting down. Some victims of severe radiation exposure remain alive long enough to fully understand what's happening to them, which is arguably more terrifying than dying instantly.
So what kills you first in a nuclear blast? The truth is that there isn't one answer. If you're extremely close, the heat kills you before you even realize you're in danger. If you're farther away, the blast wave is often the biggest threat. If you survive both of those, fires may become the next killer. And if you somehow survive all of that, radiation can continue attacking your body long after the mushroom cloud has disappeared. That's what makes nuclear weapons different from almost every other disaster on Earth. It's not one event, it's a chain reaction of destruction. First comes the flash, then the heat, then the shockwave, then the fires, then the radiation. Every stage is deadly. Every stage is competing to be the answer to our question. And depending on where you're standing when the bomb goes off, the thing that kills you first could be completely different from the person standing just a few blocks away.